Build Propulsion Lab at JCON Europe comes to life from Cologne, Germany. First interview of the conference is with Nicolai. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Nicolai, he is a developer advocate at Oracle for the Java language.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting because, you know, Build Propulsion Lab, it's all about Java ecosystem, and the small elephant right there might give it away.
Yeah.
But so, and obviously we are come from Java, still in Java, gonna be in Java for a while. So speaking about Build Propulsion Lab and developer productivity, language is something that is critical for developer productivity, right? And I guess developer productivity was a reason of Java being born in the first place.
Yeah.
Right, comparing to the other languages back there. And it's also a reason for a lot of people seeking alternatives. I would say probably like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
15
I think,
Right, this is where Groovy kind of evolved as a more productive Java.
Yeah.
And then Scala didn't really work that way. Talking about productivity. No, I'm just
I don't
kidding.
know, I've never programmed Scala. I know that the people who still use it are very fond of it.
In this show, we give shit to everybody. And then Kotlin, obviously, like the elephant.
The elephant in the room.
Right, so, and I would say, let's talk about Kotlin as being, I would say, as it conceived, more productive alternative than Java, right? But I think something changed in the last years.
Right. So I think first of all, you said in the beginning, you said language, and of course, language is an important part. But one reason why also Scala and Kotlin and Groovy picked the JVM is because it's not just the language, right? Like it's also the ecosystem. That means the tooling around it and the dependencies around it. I think one thing that Kotlin did really well is that they picked not too divergent of a programming model, so that integrating existing Java libraries into Kotlin, specifically when the language was small and starting out, was very, very feasible. And I think that was important for them, so that people, because like if there's a language, if you just build a language on an island, it doesn't matter how amazing it is if you have like no tooling for it, and you have to implement your own web server and everything. So that's not going to make people more productive, right? So connecting to the existing functionality, I think, was really smart and allowed Kotlin to start out well out of the gates. And then, of course, having an IDE backing it is also very important, right? Having a good IDE is very important, and IntelliJ is a great IDE, so that all makes sense. I think, honestly, even before I joined Oracle as a Java developer advocate, just as a Java fanboy for the last decade or so, I'm not concerned about Kotlin or Scala or Groovy. I think this is healthy competition on the Java platform. I'm not worried that 10 years down the line, nobody, even though the internet constantly claims this, nobody uses Java anymore and everybody uses all these other languages. And so, I'm happy, and I think it's really cool that these languages get to try out things, and Java can have a look at, what works and what doesn't work, and and not only from those languages, of course, like it's across the board, right? Like we have on the JDK, on the Java platform group at Oracle, which is the group that develops Java. There are people fans of Clojure, of Smalltalk, of the .NET framework. Like it goes across the board, and there's no reason why Java should only look, at JVM languages for inspiration. I mean, like frankly speaking, none of these did this either, right? Like Kotlin basically just like combined a few things from different languages. There's a great talk by, I think his name is Andre, right?
Yep.
Andrew, the guy who created, exactly. Great talk on YouTube. I can only recommend watching that, where he basically says that there might even be the title, how Kotlin stands on the shoulder of giants, how many other languages he got inspiration from. And Java's doing the same with JVM languages and with non-JVM languages as well.
So, but I think what I kind of allured is that there's something changed.
Right, Java, right. So
Java is catching up.
That was actually right. I was supposed to say that. I was supposed to know Java is totally.
I tried to, and we failed. But this is a life. I mean, you get what you get.
You get what you get.
Java is catching up.
Right. So I don't even like that idea of catching up. I don't actually like it's. This is not a linear race. Meaning, like if everybody evolves like in an n-dimensional space, then catching up is really hard to define. But I think, like if you just measure like productivity as a number between 0 and 100, you could argue that Java is catching up there. But yes, Java is introducing lots of new features. Sun in its last days kind of struggled economically and didn't do that well. And I think the Java platform group also suffered from that, like in the Java 6 and 7 days, not that much changed. For those people who don't know, some of the Java features that I think Java 7 were introduced by Project Coin. And I recommend to you to look up why it was called Project Coin. For example, we have Amber now, we have Panama, why Coin? I'm not going to spoil it here. Go look it up. It's funny.
It is. It is. It's wow. That you take me way back. I didn't hear this term Project Coin for a longest time.
Exactly. And then Oracle bought Sun. Oracle is obviously economically doing much better than Sun did back then. It's not even comparable. And JPG has flourished within Oracle since then. And Java, in the beginning, there was a struggle to get Java 8 online. If I recall correctly, that was the end of Java 7 was like a big security issue as well. So to shore up security, they had to set Java 8 straight, get lambdas out the door in a way that really worked. And Brian Getz pulled it off. It's amazing. The work he does in general is amazing, but also specifically to pull off lambdas in a way that people like it and want to use it and revitalize Java, right? Like Java. To be honest, Java 8 was the first time that I noticed that Java even changes. I've been using Java on and off in school and university since the early 2000s. And because my contact was so loose and some of the later phases where it was a little bit more intense, the change on Java was so slow, I didn't know Java has versions that change shit. It was Java 8 that taught me that in the end of 2013 when I read blog posts. It was like, there's this new thing coming. I mean, what do you mean new things coming? I always thought a language is like a rock. It stays.
It's there. Yeah,
right.
And the innovation is in the libraries and frameworks.
Exactly. And then happened.
But I think it was the biggest, from my understanding, the biggest stall for Java out there was the modules. The biggest obstacle for adoption was actually Java 9.
You mean for updates?
Yeah, Java 9.
Yeah,
Java 9 is where everything got stuck. And I think until today, 10 years later, we still have a lot of people using Java 8 because they cannot migrate because of all this stuff.
So I'm a couple of that explanation. So 8 did the cool thing that everybody reinterested in Java, and then Java 9 did the necessary thing. So the module system internally within the JDK was absolutely necessary, hands down, no questions asked. Whether it was necessary to expose that to the wider ecosystem where adoption is growing but low, I'm still convinced 100% yes, but I can see difference of opinion making sense there. But the module system had to happen within the JDK. And for Java 9, it's actually kind of funny, the module system gets blamed for quite a few things that is not actually the module system's fault, like it's not even involved. So one issue that I had, for example, on Java 9 is that the version string looked different. And a bunch of libraries parsed the version string, and now it doesn't start with a 1 dot, it starts with a 9 dot, and now we're like, oh, I don't know what this means. And I think Log4j1 even crashed because it takes the version string, removes the 1 dot, removes the first 2 characters, and then parses the next character.
Yeah.
So Java 9 started with just the 9 as a version, not even 9.0, just 9. And if you throw away the first 2 characters and parse the rest, you parse the empty string. And Log4j just crashed. I mean, Log4j1 was already not supported at that point anymore, so that's fine.
Yeah, no, but also generally, encoding the versions in strings is generally
Java 9, since Java 9, Java has an API that you can just ask, what is the current major version, please?
Exactly.
So yes, but Java 9 was a bump in the road. I think it was a necessary bump because I think the module system and these other changes were necessary. And also there's ongoing changes, right? Strong encapsulation wasn't really that strong until Java 16 made every JDK internal API encapsulated strongly by default unless you go add exports. So some of these things are still reaching, right? So now, for example, removing of finalizers. We have the dynamic that agents can dynamically attach by default. They will always be able to dynamically attach agents, but you might have to add a command line flag at launch to say, yes, I'm okay with this because an agent can actually do wild things to your running VM. Overall, this concept of integrity of the platform for better predictability, for better performance even, but also for better security, is a thing that started with Java 9. That makes the biggest chunk of work, but it is an ongoing process, and it is important to keep the JDK maintainable, but also to make sure that everybody runs what they think they're running. And so yes, I see why Java 9 is conceived as a roadblock there. But at this point, unless you're using some weird unmaintained library, if you're using just regular stuff, those all work on 9 and later. So I think also at this point, I don't want to really point fingers, but also feel like for many people, this is kind of like a good excuse to be like, oh yeah, no, we heard 3 years ago that the update to 9 is very hard, so we don't do it. But now it's 3 years later. Things change, right? You can do the update much easier now than you could a couple of years ago. And I would argue it will get harder. Like it already got a little bit harder because the easiest thing to update Java, from my point of view, is to just update all dependencies. And I know that updating all dependencies is not trivial, but you kind of have other reasons to do that anyway. And once you have everything up to date, now you can update the Java version usually quite easily. After like 2017 was when Java 9 came out. I want to say since this decade, since 2020, you can absolutely, once all your dependencies are up to date, just bump the Java version. That is extremely likely to just work. But soon, and already this is happening, you cannot go to all recent versions if you're running on Java 8, because now recent versions stop supporting Java 8. So I call 2023 the last year where it's reasonable to be on Java 8. Because like so many projects either already or announce dropping Java 8 support, that you're gonna have a hard time keeping your dependencies up to date because you cannot just simply just pick the newest version. And if that stops working, you have to maintain a weird, half outdated net of dependencies. And I think that just adds a lot of extra effort and work that is very likely better invested in just making the jump to, I still wanna say, go to 11, stay there for a week, and then go 17 and stay there for a week. Just make sure that, let everything settle a bit, let the dust settle after an update. But there's no reason not to be on 21 by, I don't know, late this year.
Yeah, okay, that's, here you have it. Okay, now this is all good for reasons of, okay, you should be on the latest version because security, because libraries and what's not. But it's also Java language as of today, 21, 22, also provides you a massive boost in productivity.
There's, to get back to your original point, we have like just the virtual thread thing offers a scalability that is not easy to come by in any other language. Just the fact that you can just write simple blocking code and get this scalability on par with the full reactive pipeline. That's a crazy productivity boost. I know that some people do like the reactive stream pipelines, and since I like the regular Java stream pipeline, I might actually be one of those people. I'm okay with writing things in that kind of format, but I never met anyone who said, no, debugging that is also great. Like, I just love debugging reactive stream pipelines. Everybody I'd ever talked to about that says like, oh, that's really a severe weak spot, and virtual threads make that so much better. So you're not only more productive when writing the code or when reading it versus having to learn the reactive paradigm, but also when debugging for performance issues, for just regular bugs. This will make many things much easier because tools are built with the understanding you have that threads take a computation running for a long time and not have all this like a gazillion small partial things there. So that's virtual threads. We got pattern matching Java 21 that were finalized. I just talked about Java 22, which finalizes the little underscore, which might seem insignificant, but it's actually quite a cool, or rather not cool, but it's also cool to use it because once you don't have, when you have unused variables, it's really nice to say underscore, I don't need it. Yep. But it's also really important for pattern matching. If you go to the Java YouTube channel, you will find pattern matching tutorials there, and they will explain why the underscore is important there if you don't know. But so yeah, so pattern matching is the basic building blocks are there, but we're going to see more. We already have cool stuff that is previewed in 22 and will preview in 23 that will just bring, that will move that story forward. We have the whole evolution of strings with text blocks, with not string templates. So string templates were proposed and were previewed for a while, and in the 11th hour, some design decisions that were made were being called to question, not for, like, I kind of like string templates, but the reasons for calling them to questions are also good. And so there will not be a preview in 23. There will be just no string templates at all in 23, which is good because I've been telling people, I've been telling people to beware that preview features can be removed again. And this is the first time this actually happens, and it's a good reminder that yes, it's good to experiment with, but you should never write more code on a preview feature than you're willing to rewrite. Like every line of code you write on a preview feature, you should be willing to just throw out and rewrite from scratch. And that means probably not a lot. Like maybe for an internal project, you write like a couple of days of code, but you don't want to write like, maybe your internal whole vacation day tracking system of your company is an internal project. You don't want to write like 6 months of code on a preview feature and then throw all of that out. So yeah, so that feature is out, but it's going to come back in some form or other, I'm pretty sure. And that's going to be good for productivity, but also for just security. It makes it easier to make sure that what you pass as another language, as HTML, as JSON, as SQL, as whatever, will actually be checked and verified and escaped and validated versus, select star plus whatever.
Oh yeah, all the SQL injection, but
Yeah.
so basically what we had was precompiled SQL statements.
Right,
back
and
in
that's
the
what
day.
string templates can do under the hood, right?
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
you
exactly.
type what looks
Yep.
like just a regular cool string and just say, take this statement and execute it, and it will under the hood do the prepared statement, insert the things,
Exactly.
and all of that will happen without you having to do it manually, and it will just look smooth. But I'm not saying people should now write SQL code. We also have like something like JQL. We have good alternatives. But in the cases where you do end up doing this, now you can do it more safely. I still think that, for example, you don't want to, still JSON, for example, you want to generate JSON, it's still fine to take a map and throw it at Jackson and be like, you do this. You don't have to write JSON now in strings just because you can. But in those situations where you do it, it's good if it's now safer and more reliable.
For sure. Yep. So here we have it, folks. A lot of interesting stuff, but all the way from history, project one. Oh my God, I now cannot get over it.
Coin, Lambda, Jigsaw, we talk about all the old stuff.
Yeah, check it out, what Project Coin actually means. And all the way to the newest stuff in Java 22.
Yeah.
Nicolai, your talk is going to probably be published soon enough. So
I would expect, maybe, I don't know.
yeah.
I was recorded, I'm pretty sure it's going to be published.
So you folks take a look at the full thing.
Can I give one more recommendation?
Oh, you should.
If following along how Java evolves is something that you care about, or something you want to look into insight.java. So .java is a top-level domain. No, we cannot create our own pages there, I asked.
Yep.
But insight.java is basically a link aggregator that collects the most important emails, talk recordings like this one, for example, or JEPs when they're found in legs, like usually a post a day. We do have an RSS feed, that's good. So you can just see like what are the most relevant steps in the evolution of Java to follow along life. It's a really great resource, I can all recommend that.
If you know good lawyers at Oracle, talk to them to allow us create our own .java domains. You can never know who's watching. Right?
I cannot talk about that.
Larry, if you're watching, let us do that as well.
No, Larry watches all my talks.
Exactly. So Larry, please let us create our own .java pages. And with that, folks, thank you very much. Stay tuned for many more episodes of the Propulsion Lab at JCON live from Cologne, Germany. With that, take care.
Have a good one.